Okay, here we are. And as usual, when you are popping on, please let me know if you can hear me because of that one time when the microphone was not working. And now I'm super freaked out about just not working. So again, I'm just kind of waiting for people to acknowledge, hey, I can hear you. Everything is good. Can see and hear all of the rest. I'm just looking over at YouTube really quick. Jay says, yep, can hear. And I'm just looking over there to make sure that you can see my face. And that's working apparently. Hey everybody, how's it going? I see Matt Husanka, I see Pete, I see Jay. I say, hey, what is up? Just checking in. And I don't know how long we're going to go live today. I have a lot of work today, and I think a lot of folks do. And I see Dot Fix, and I see Mike, and I say, Fix, is your baby? Did your baby come yet? I'm just wondering how that is going, because I feel like in a stream or in a video recently, you were like, oh yeah, I can only work if the baby doesn't come. And so now I'm like wondering how that is. Jay says chilling like a villain, and the baby's here. Oh, is it? So guys, Stuart.fix, he had your child arrived. Like, is it a boy? Is it a girl? Is it an alien? Like, are you alive? Have you slept? Like, congratulations. That's really awesome. Having a baby in the middle of a pandemic just sounds awesome with a question mark. Like, that sounds great, but awesome. That is super cool. Sabine is here. Kamal says, hey, how are you? Jay Bug says hello. And after all, I'm giving Jay a specific shout out because I would hate for him to feel neglected. And Black Kitty Family, hey, what's up? So folks, what I wanted to chat about briefly today, I don't plan on going super long, but what I wanted to talk about a bit was a shiny object syndrome, because it strikes me about every year, it seems, and I have a hard time not yielding to it. And what happens when shiny object syndrome hits me is I start a new website, or I start working on a new income stream, or I jump into something new and different. And so what I've been really focusing on in the last couple of weeks is thinking more about making the most of the assets that I have, and also reducing other expenses to just overall increase the profitability of this whole enterprise. So with that in mind, I have definitely consolidated down on hosting to get to plans that are the most affordable. And for me, that means paying up front for the year rather than paying month on month, and just sort of committing to hosting, but spending less overall and dumping some of the hosting platforms that I have. In one case, it means moving one of my garage sale sites that I've just had waiting in the wings, and moving that over to Ezoic from straight AdSense. You know, it's been earning a couple of pennies over here on AdSense per month. And now that it's becoming easier to move small sites over to Ezoic, I thought, okay, let's just go over and see how it does over there. And kind of hilarious results. But I definitely have talked about doing more with Skillshare, which is something that I don't talk a ton about on this channel. But again, it's like trying to build up these other revenue streams and all the rest. So that is really what I am focused on is, I talk with Chris, Niche Site Safari, Chris, and with Dotfix and Adrian, all these guys about focusing on money-making activities that make the most use of our time, so that I can spend other time doing the things that I really want to do and need to do. Checking in the chat, and Dotfix says, a little girl. That's exciting. That's just so cool. And one of the reasons that this is important to me is because I want to spend more time going to places like this, which is where I was this last weekend. That's why I look super sunburnt. You could say tan, but mostly sunburnt. Is, I just was able to put everything down because I was being really effective with my time, and just get out of the office, get out of this sterile room for 3 or 4 days and escape the heat and go places with my kids. And just going and being able to do that, it's just so great. But to be able to do that, I need to be more effective and not let shiny object syndrome get to me. Checking who else is dropping in. I see Josh. I say, hey, what is up? Folks, as always, if you are over there in the chat, I want to hear wins and progress, because frankly, I don't really like talking about myself all that much. I would rather hear what you folks are working on and your wins, losses, win, lose, or draw, or whatever that you've been able to do since we last caught up. And I'm going to have my Graham Stephan style iced coffee. so you can hear the clinkety clinkety clink because I have this excellent microphone now. On my list of stuff to talk about today, I just wanted to remind folks that the Ezoic Pubtelligence is going on, and I am going to do a Q&A with Leon Angus tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, so that's GMT -7. And folks, if you could come, just register for it. The link is in the description, but register for it and then just come and ask questions and make both of us, me and Leon, like look as good as possible. That would just melt my heart. Mostly though, just for engagement, so that we're not just stuck there like, because it's a Q&A, it just would go a lot better if people were there. And I honestly don't know, having never done Pubtelligence, how many people are actually going to be there. I mean, is it going to be 5 people? Is it going to be 25 people? 100 people? I literally have no idea. And I am kind of nervous because it's first thing in the morning and it's at 9 a.m. and I'm still waking up. Showing up with my A game is pretty hard at 9 a.m. I'm looking at the chat and it is still super quiet about progress. I'm going to say, people, come on. I know you guys were working this last week, except for Stuart. .fix, he gets a pass because he has a brand new baby and he's trying to stay alive right now. Trying to stay alive, so he gets a pass. But everybody else, I want to hear it. So you're in there and I see 20 of you guys. I also need you to go and smash the like button because we are doing Graham Stephan style coffee. Therefore, you must smash the like button. Oh, there's Josh. He says that he found a new good affiliate program. He said, without an affiliate program, giving 15%. I'm not sure if I follow you what that means, but found a good new affiliate. And I'm assuming that the commission rate is 15%, but I would like to know more about that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the site that I moved over to Ezoic. It's a small site and it's one I bought last year on Flippa. I bought it for the content and I spent probably too much on it, but I was super excited about finding a site that had about 200 posts of content already there. And I was looking at, what I knew about content at the time, and gosh, what I knew back then versus what I know now. Still, I was thinking, okay, what would it cost for me to outsource 200 pages of even so-so content? And so I bought it. And then I just had AdSense on it, and I've basically ignored it for the last 12 months, 14, 15 months, because I've been so busy doing other things. So I got this bright idea that I would move this site that gets about 2,000 to 3,000 sessions a month over to Ezoic because it was making $12 a month on AdSense. And surely Ezoic could do more with it. And so it's been up there for a week, and I am sure now it will make more with Ezoic, but you guys will laugh because what I did was I updated the theme right before I moved it over to Ezoic. And then I went on a short mini vacation, right? I went to the beach. And so when I got back, I went and I just checked analytics to check the traffic with everything. And I went to check the traffic for this site that had just moved, and it was zeroed out, bottomed out, 0.0000. And I recalled this question I got in one of these live streams from somebody who said, hey, I've heard from everyone that, or not everyone, but I've heard from other people that when you take your site to Ezoic, that it will destroy all the traffic and destroy all the rankings, and Google will de-index everything and it will be zeroed out. And I was like, oh my God, this just happened to me. I'm going to have to go live on Wednesday and tell everybody that I moved a site over to Ezoic and Ezoic destroyed it. And, where is my integrity? I'm going to have to tell everybody. But you heard me in the beginning of the story when I said that I changed the theme. Yeah. So what did I, in my stupidity, forget to do, which is move the meta tag, the code over from Google Analytics so that Google could track my analytics. And yeah, so Ezoic didn't destroy my site. I just didn't move the tracking code over. And when you go into Ezoic now, I can see how many people have been to the site and what it is starting to earn. And just confirm for me, again, that you can be so far down the road and think that you really know what you're doing. But if you forget little things that I just felt pretty stupid because I literally was getting ready to come on today and say, you guys, this is a problem, and people bring this up and I haven't had this experience, but now this happened to me and I need to share it. But it turns out I'm just a moron. Does anybody else have any stories like that? Please make me feel better. What do we have over in the comments? I see Stuart says for his progress, because nobody else is jumping in with stupid stories. He says he was able to outsource a bunch of posts and been editing. That's exciting. And then starting an intentional link building strategy and hoping to focus on traffic for display ads for one site. Intentional link building, that is really overwhelming for me, and I wish you luck, and I look forward to hearing your reports on what to do so that I can learn it better. Madhusanka says he won 3 featured snippets without a single backlink, and that, my friend, is worth a pat on the back. If you were present, I would pat you, but because you're not, I'll get myself. That's exciting. Jay says he's wrestling with due diligence questions, and I'm wondering when I'll just be ready to do the thing and figure it out. You know, for me, what I had to do, and Jay's talking about investing in an online business or investing in a website. And for me, I knew when I was ready, because I had gotten myself at least a little experience before just pulling out my wallet and putting it out there. So I am interested in investing in content sites. So for me, that involves starting a site and then growing it and getting comfortable with the operation, the day-to-day operation of it, so that when I was able to look at sites and look at the back end, I understood what I was looking at. I think the same may be true for the other sites. If you're looking at a drop shipping business or a SaaS product or whatever, you know, if it's focused on email marketing and all the rest, like just dipping your toes in it. Maybe it means investing or even losing some money in starting something from scratch and having it just fail, just implode in your face. But think about it. Wouldn't you rather have that happen with a site that you invested very little money in to learn on versus buying a site that is already running and then learning on the fly on a site that you just started or you just bought and then, you know, you just don't know what you're doing? I just think trying things out and gaining some of your own experience so that you can make decisions confidently and accept the results of it based upon your experiences rather than kind of being blind. Because I guess if you're wondering when you're ready, then you're not ready. Right. I think that it's just one of those things, like you just know, like you just say, I'm ready. And if you're not ready, then you need to do other things to help you get ready. And maybe it's not watching YouTube videos. Maybe it's doing something hands-on with someone. Maybe it's doing some consulting or some one-on-one coaching with someone who can lead you through the back end and talk with you more. You just got to figure out what it is that that is going to get you past that. And I know that's what you're working on, but maybe it's not consuming YouTube videos, and maybe it's not just pulling the trigger and jumping on it. Maybe it's doing something more creative to get you there. Naeem says, I have been encountering an origin error issue on my website lately. It was due to Ezoic ads, and they gave me a few suggestions to fix it. You know, I haven't come across an origin error issue, and if folks who are in the chat are seeing this, let us know if you've seen that yourself. I'm curious to see what they have to say. It says, but my hosting provider declined to whitelist their IP. So please suggest if there is a hosting provider who whitelists their IP. You know, when I was talking with SiteGround, they were totally willing to whitelist whatever or whoever I wanted. But when they looked at the gigantic list of potential IP addresses that Ezoic wanted us to whitelist, we tried to figure out some other solution. And so if anybody else has come across this, I would like to know. Jay says, how about introducing kids to the outdoor lifestyle? He says he hasn't been too focused, only 2 articles and 1 video since Saturday. I still think that you should feel good about 2 articles and 1 video in the last couple of days, because it's still better than nothing. Stuart's planning on getting his outsourcing writer going ASAP, and that's awesome. Oh, Jesse says, I changed themes with an Exoic site once and didn't realize I had to redo all the placeholders and lost a day's ad revenue. You know, that's not a big deal when your site earns 35 cents a day, but when it earns $100 or $200 or $300 or $500 a day, then yeah, that's a big deal. So folks, just keep that in mind. If you're going to be changing up themes with your ad placements, make sure that you plan for that. Pete says he ended article freeze, add an article last night, updating existing articles with new keyword site is showing live for pushing forward. Awesome, man. You keep going. Whisper Hub says, hey, and we say, hey, what's up? How's it going? Thanks for dropping in. As always, when you drop into this live stream, we want to know your wins, progress for the week, What are you working on? Whatever questions that you have, let's hear it. What else do we got over here? Jay says, hitting the target right on and makes sense. And I think we are caught up with the chat. I wanted to also talk about putting a small site over on Ezoic, because I think that's going to be becoming more common now that they're working towards reducing the minimum session requirement. And then they're doing this just start thing and all the rest. I think a lot of people who are not necessarily beginners, but folks who may have other sites, but may just say, oh, well, I might as well bring over my small site to Ezoic anyway, because it's over on AdSense. It may not apply to anything else. And they may be confused when they first get their site in there. And I just realized this because this is the first time I've had a small site on Ezoic. And so I've got about 4 or 5 days worth of data. But what I don't see yet are the EPMV. And even though I can see the revenue earned for the days, in the big data analytics, you're not going to see, I think, the data, the averages and all of the details work out for a while, because there's not as much traffic going through. Like if you already have a bigger site, you're probably used to getting that data and the ad tester to do its things, to do all of the things that it does to give you that information. We just don't have as much traffic going through the site. So it's just going to take longer. So remember, I mean, even with the bigger site with 10,000 sessions or more, they say give it, 5, 6, 7 weeks before you say, okay, this is what the site is going to do. This is what it's going to earn. Here is the data. And just remember, with a smaller site, it's probably going to take even longer than that. I mean, I would estimate potentially even 10, 11, 12 weeks, a couple of months. So just saying, with smaller sites, I don't think we can expect to have the same level of information right away. But I will say, though, it's pretty cool with this new site that I basically had no idea what it was doing aside from the traffic and the pages, to see which of the pages are getting not just traffic, but how long people are staying on them, and to get an idea of sort of what my money pages are as far as earnings. So that is really enjoyable, because, you see in AdSense, not AdSense, in analytics, the bounce rate, right? And Ezoic in the big data analytics gives you more information about the navigational bounce rate versus the true bounce rate, and how long people are staying on that particular page. And I have one monster page on that site that does really well. And it turns out it doesn't look like people are staying on it very long. And so that tells me that I could probably do more to make that page a better experience, to try to encourage people to stay on it. Sabine says, no visible progress for me this week. Only one article posted. How is that not progress? Sorry, but one article posted is still progress, in my opinion. So I don't think you should beat yourself up for that. Actually done a lot. I am researching topics for a new site, chose a niche, found more than 50 key phrases to start it. That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy, and I am excited for you. And I'm looking on. We have been here for about 20 minutes. Oh, one thing, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but this channel just crossed 2,000 subscribers. It's so funny that I worked to get to 1,000. And it was like this big moment. Like I felt like balloons and like horns and the heralds. It's like, oh, I made it. It was such a big deal. And then I was out of town over the weekend and crossed 2,000. And it was kind of like, okay, like cool, like meh. Still, I feel pretty good about 2,000. I'm pretty excited about it. And thinking about the goals, like I'm looking at it, it's August, September, October, November, December. So I got 5 months. And so setting goals going forward, I don't think I'm going to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to get to 10,000 by, next April, like a year from getting to 1,000. But I think a really great goal would be to try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It seems reasonable. It seems realistic. I just need to focus on creating content that people actually want to subscribe to, and being worthy of people showing up and dropping in. And so, yeah, I think that part of that strategy will continue to be going live on Wednesdays, just to chat with folks and try to connect people and have fun, because why not have fun? That's a big part of this. But also probably doing some more videos to try and attract Google search traffic, organic traffic. So you may see videos where you're like, why are we doing videos about this? I don't need this. This is either for beginners, or this is maybe unrelated to what I'm doing, but ultimately I just want to continue, again, going back to on my list about battling shiny object syndrome, is just making the most of the assets that I already have in play rather than going and creating new ones. So rather than going and starting a new YouTube channel right now, because I can't help myself, let's try to work on the assets that I already have to try to maximize those. And again, my goal is to get all of these side hustles to at least $1,000 a month. So my Skillshare account channel page to $1,000 a month, this YouTube channel to $1,000 a month. I mean, my sites are separate and different, but all the various things that I'm doing and all the various programs and the rest to get those all to $1,000 a month, so that if one of them goes sideways, then I am okay. With Skillshare, though, it kind of cracks me up because people who have clicked this link, and I've, somewhat embarrassed to share that link and send people there because has work on that platform that I did 2 years ago, pretty much when I was still beginning. And frankly, I'm still learning how to be a course creator. But what happens on Skillshare is that when you upload the course, you can't delete it. So you're stuck with it. You put it up there and you say, oh, I'd like to re-record that course from scratch. Or I just want to delete that because I'm embarrassed with how terrible it is, but you can't get rid of it. So if you go over there and you're like, man, this is not that good, I say, I know, I just can't get rid of it. Mike says, it's a bit quiet here today. It is, but that's okay. I don't mind. Nothing is super exciting today. We're just jumping in and, I guess, commingling. Let's discuss the importance of Bing. My age site is now in a position that when I publish a new article and tell Bing, it will rank in the top 3 within 5 minutes. I've been reading some articles recently and just seeing it come through on Facebook about optimizing for Bing. Hey, Jenna, how's it going? It's nice to catch up with you and see how things are. And I wonder if your problem that you had last week, if that has been resolved. I'd be curious to hear how you are doing. But, previously, it seemed like the strategy for Bing was to just continue to optimize for Google and let Bing do what it was going to do. I can't think of any of my sites that draw a particularly high amount of traffic from Bing overall. Although it's cool in the Azoic Big Data Analytics, you can look at the value of the traffic. And I have sites that get some traffic from like AOL.com, and those visitors tend to be the most valuable. And that's really interesting to me, actually. And I guess it makes sense because people who are still using AOL.com are probably folks that are older, who have more money, because everybody else is using, cheaper, faster, speedier things. And if you're still using AOL, then that shows loyalty, and you probably invested early. And, the older, moneyed, gray-haired group, and maybe that's why those visitors are so valuable. Jada says, resolved for now. Jesse says, he totally ignores Bing. I can submit URLs to GSC, and as long as it's low enough competition, I'll often rank on the first page immediately. Stuart says, whoa, AOL is still a thing. Apparently, it's still a thing somewhere. Oh, you know what I was doing? I was doing research in the Big Data Analytics for other analytics to share in a video that I probably won't make now because my attention has passed. But they actually give you the weather in the last 7 days for your visitors. So I was thinking of creative ways for how you would use that. Like on Wednesday, your mostly tier 1 traffic that comes from the UK had sun, and it was ridiculously hot. Like, that a certain percentage of those people come back to your website. You could plot and plan products or services or articles targeted at people based upon the weather where they live. Yeah, they give you that information. I was sitting here trying to think of what I would do with that information for any of my websites. Say, okay, the last 7 days it has been raining and a certain temperature. Like, I guess depending upon, maybe you were an outdoor site or whatever, you could optimize for that, or offer products having to do with the weather. But I just thought that was an interesting and possibly not very useful stat, but still that's out there. And if you have time and you like analytics and data, then going and surfing around and seeing what it is that uh, that Zoic actually offers you as far as data, it's just really interesting. They also tell you, like, the internet service providers, I think Comcast or all the rest, so you could actually see what it is that people are using to access your website. And I think that's actually valuable if you were somebody who is doing affiliate work around those types of technological products. You say, okay, I am a website that I am an affiliate for this media company or this internet service provider or VPNs or whatever, and you can actually see where people are coming in from, and then tailor content around them. And I just think it's really interesting. Mike says he doesn't optimize for Bing. The article is written and Bing recognizes quality faster than Google. There you go. Yeah, I don't optimize with Bing in mind. I just optimize mostly for Google and trust that what's going to happen is going to happen. Oh, what's up? Chris is here. How's it going? And I'm pretty sure I called you out earlier, Chris, for something, and I honestly can't remember now what it was for, but I'm sure it was something positive. I'm sure it was something positive. I see Ria here. How's it going? Thanks for dropping in. We're just having coffee and hanging out and talking about win, lose, or draw for the week, your wins, your progress, and whatever, what have you. And a reminder that Pubtelligence is tomorrow, and the link is in the description. Please drop in and say hi and ask a question so that Leon and I look as awesome as we can possibly look. I doubt he's nervous, but I am, because I don't normally do this kind of stuff. And we're talking about YouTube, which is something that I feel confident in talking about. I don't feel necessarily confident in talking about my websites to an audience of people who are probably more expert about every single aspect of it than I am. But YouTube, I'm happy to talk about because it's fun. That stuff is fun. And there's no, I guess it's not a big, the stakes are really low for me. I was not, Stuart. I was not giving Chris a hard time. This is not awkward. He says, I'm sure it was positive. I think, probably, maybe. I assume it was. What do you think about submitting a sitemap to Yandex and Baidu? You know, I did that for my case study site, and I saw 0 appreciable results. I saw no actual traffic coming from it. That wasn't coming from before. It was the same. So I don't know if other people have an experience or think that it's worthwhile to submit the sitemap over there. But for me, it didn't seem to be a good investment in my time. Chris says he has a win. He said he averaged a thousand. Wouldn't that be great? $100 a day this month. And that is exciting because that means that you are now at the level of $3,000 a month. And that is worth a big high five and a pat on the back. And I took my harmonica camping, so I would play you a tune, but I don't know where it is. But that is super exciting. I'm thrilled for you. You've been working so very hard. And I just love it. I do have a question, though. Have you gotten any interest at all, or I don't know, customers or people who are interested in the niche safari part of your business, about helping people carve out niches? Because that seems like it would be a really valuable resource for folks who are just getting started. And if folks don't know this, Chris of Niche Safari has or has started or in the process of creating a service where he helps people choose a niche and helping people get started with a niche. Because sometimes for beginners, choosing a niche is one of the hardest things to do. And they end up falling back on just what it is that they know about, which is maybe really competitive or not very well researched. And so, again, just wanted to put that out there. Chris says, about Niche Safari, says, I'm not really doing that. I'm too busy trying to get rich. Hey, and maybe that's what I was I mentioned about you earlier, because I think that's something that I was talking about for myself, about focusing much more on income producing activities. I think that's what it was, because my shiny object syndrome has sort of sprang up, and instead of starting something new, like a new website or a new income stream or a new affiliate program, I'm just going to focus on really maximizing the assets that I've already created. And maybe it means doing more in Skillshare, which I've talked about a little bit, or a new affiliate program for a particular site that I've already have. In the case that I talked about earlier, it was moving one of my small sites off of AdSense and moving it over to Exoic to try to, again, just increase what I'm doing over there, learn more about it, and then start creating content for it, get it out of the garage, and also decreasing expenses overall. Ria says, did I hear about the plugin Google just released, specifically WordPress, for WordPress, just like Pinterest? I think didn't Stuart.fix, didn't you do a video about that? Wasn't it for Google Stories, like this sort of TikTok, Instagram stories like plugin? I'm pretty sure the Income School guys also did a video about it. Isn't that what it was for? And I've also seen that John Dykstra is testing out Google Stories right now. I saw it in his email list. And by the way, if you're not on John Dykstra's email list, that is a really good one to be on. Yeah, he does launch offers and products, but he also does a lot of great update emails about the things that he's testing, so you can watch for them. And I think it's pretty cool to see somebody just jumping out and testing Google Stories, like the Income School guys, like John, like .fix, to see whether or not this is going to be a valuable investment in our time. Then there is Darren. Hey, I feel like I have not caught you in so long, and I'm wondering how it is that you are doing. I see Fish and Money, and I have started to see more YouTube videos coming out on your channel about fishing, and I am excited to catch up with them and catch up on them, because I have 2 little boys and a little girl that I have to teach to fish, and I'm only sort of meh about fishing myself. So any videos you can make about starting little kids with fishing, that would be awesome. .fix says, I have a question. I think it's time to change my channel to my actual name. I keep going back and forth on this. Well, I mean, how are people finding you? And how integral is the name .fix to your business? And I guess how much is YouTube and this brand that you have really integral into what it is that you are doing? I mean, for me, it's weird to call you .fix, because I know your name is Stuart, and it feels weird to call someone .fix, but I guess I'm not a gamer. I don't spend a lot of time, using crazy handles and things, and I use my name. But I don't know, other folks may chime in and say that they think that you should change your name or keep your name. I mean, I don't know. I just figure I just make do. So if you want to stick with .fix, then I'm going to call you .fix. And if you want to be Stuart, I will note though that folks like the content bug, Catherine Manning, for example, was the content bug until she hit it out of the park with some of her YouTube videos and then switched to her actual name. And I think it's because she was working on promoting herself, and rather than like her services as, and I guess it comes down to, what is your YouTube maybe selling? Are you selling yourself, or are you selling something that you can do? And I guess .fix really doesn't communicate either of those things. .fix seems like you just hiding behind a name that maybe some folks do, and maybe it's like you're in the know if you know who you are, but maybe not as easy for folks who want to find you. I don't know. Maybe other people can throw in, tell us what they think about changing your name to yourself. I mean, Stuart is not as snazzy as .fix, but it may be easier for people to track you down. Stuart says, I don't see myself using that plugin anytime soon. I think there's certain niches that it would be really good for, though. Yeah, well, the question is, will stories actually bring traffic to the website? So is Google going to let you just view the story there on the search page, or when they show it to you? Or are people, once they've viewed the story, are they going to continue to look around your website and earn you money? And, monetizing that story, I mean, monetizing the view of it, like playbacks or putting ads on it. I mean, I don't even really know yet how that plays out, because I have not tested it yet. Mike has a win. Woo! His son's 5-month-old site sold its first ebook and got his Amazon account approved. Those are really good feelings. And it's cool to hear people who have gotten started and are having those wins. And I just think those little wins really will propel people forward and sort of feed you during the months when things aren't happening at the speed that you would like them to. So just have them hang on to that, put it on the wall and look at it, because if you can do it once, you can do it again and again and again and again. It's like proof of concept. If you can do it once, you can do it again. Janice says she downloaded Google Stories. Yeah, well, let us know how it plays out and whether it works for you. I'm really curious to hear and see. Rich says mostly for a recipe, cooking niche, anything that's very visual. And that's probably why folks say, it would work similar for Pinterest audiences, because people want to be able to see things, and something that you could do in a short clips. Although you will see that folks on TikTok manage to cram a ton of content into 60 seconds or into 15 seconds. And it's really extraordinary what they are able to do. Chris says, congrats, definitely. And Darren says, good idea. Yeah, I totally need some videos about teaching my kids to fish. So I'll be watching out for those. Chris says, if I ever meet you in person, I will be calling you Fix. Stuart sounds so formal. Well, we could call him Stu. See, I say .fix. Maybe I should just say Fix. Just Fix. And then maybe I won't feel so awkward with it. Rich says, I'm trying Pinterest ads lately. Results are great. Honestly, I didn't expect good results from Pinterest. Now, that is cool to hear a good story from someone who is trying out Pinterest ads. And when you say Pinterest ads, are you trying to draw people to affiliate offers, or are you drawing them to your website that you have a money page? Or when you're saying, I say good results, like what does a good result mean? Does that mean earnings, or does that mean traffic, or does that mean clicks on links or leads? Like I want to know more about this, Ria. Don't leave me hanging here. I would like to know more about this. Please tell us all. LOL. Bob says, I'm creating stories at the moment with the plugin. That is awesome. And I really want to know, not just in the short term, what it does, because frankly, we don't really know how this is going to be rolled out and how much Google is going to push it. I want people to come back and share, this is really working, and it is not just getting views or visibility, but it's actually drawing traffic back to the site so folks can earn. Because ultimately, if it's not something that produces income, you might get views, but that is so what? It's a vanity metric. I've got stories that get millions of views. I'm like, great. But if it doesn't translate to a valuable investment in your time, then what? Google Stories allows only one link. All right, well, that's good to know. And so then you say, what kind of link? Do they allow affiliate links? Are people going to try to draw folks back to their websites? And how is the best to use these? The thing that strikes me, if people are trying to use affiliate links in Google Stories, is how you would comply with things like the FTC and disclosing that links are affiliate links and all the rest. Seems like to comply with the FTC, you would have to draw people back to your website unless you somehow in your stories disclose that the link is an affiliate link. Jesse says that he tried to get his 16-year-old daughter interested based on her hobby. No traction yet. I like this idea. And I actually have this in my mind also. And I've kind of been tempted just to buy some domains for my kids to just hang on to and sit on and just add to them over time, so that by the time my kids are teenagers, they have a domain that is 10 years old. I'll probably do it, and then Google will be like, not an issue anymore. But still, it seems like maybe a good investment and something worthwhile to pay for over time, so that when they're ready, when they can type and actually coherently create something, that they'll have something that will actually be valuable. Yep, what an awesome idea. I wish 16-year-old me had got into this. Me too, because that would have been more than 20 years ago, and I would be living high in the hog right now. Yep, we concur. And Mike gets the high five, pat on the back for getting his son into it. She's so passionate and smart, but she doesn't quite get it when it comes to internet marketing. Well, maybe the website isn't the thing. Maybe it's not the writing. Maybe because kids are so visual now that it needs to be Instagram, or it needs to be Pinterest, or it needs to be some sort of e-commerce thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a website, although, because we're all doing websites, we think that those are the best things. But maybe it's YouTube. Maybe it's building a YouTube channel up to be monetized, and then she has another income stream that she can continue to work on. Bob says you can add links and soon run ads. All right, this is getting interesting. He says Add affiliate link and 1 link per page. Wow. His son wrote a 30,000 word ebook. That's exciting. How old is your son? Did you say how old he was? Because that's, if he's really young, that would be, I mean, that is even more astounding than if it were someone like your 25-year-old that you cracked the whip on. But if he's like 12, that's just really extraordinary. Jessie says she spends all her time playing Animal Crossing. Well, at least she's doing something, right? All right. Well, folks, I'm looking at the time and we've been on for 40 minutes and I'm surprised that we have been here that long. But again, just a reminder, Pubtelligence is tomorrow. I'm going on at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and that is GMT -7. And it would make me so happy to see a lot of your faces or little handles there, asking questions and just sort of supporting me through it, because I have a feeling that I'm going to be super nervous and it's going to be full on me style, which is kind of loud and kind of obnoxious and probably interrupting, and just because I'm nervous. But so it would help me a lot for folks to be there and support me through this thing. You have to register to get the replay. So if you miss it, but I think you should be able to show up live. Rohit says, starting early is a great idea. I started building websites for fun at 10. Now I'm 22 and I've never had to work for someone else. You know, I just wish that I had known that this was a thing when I was 10. Of course, when I was 10, email wasn't a thing yet. If that puts anything into perspective, like people didn't have email when I was 10. And then sending an electronic message was like, it was like the first telephone call. Like you clustered around the computer to see the message arrive and then open it up. You're like, oh my God, you can send a message over the computer. Animal Crossing. See, I don't even know what Animal Crossing is. And Jana, thank you so much. And folks, as always, I will be back next week at the same time. And I look forward to checking in with everybody. I hope to have more progress. As always, you got mail. That's right. We were still listening to cassette tapes when we were 10. Yes, we were. Not only that, but we were downloading. We were recording them from the radio. I remember sitting by my radio with the record button. And then when there was a commercial, I'd pause it. And then when the commercial went away, I'd hit record again so that I could listen to the radio, to the songs whenever I wanted. And I would wait all day for the song that I wanted to get, because I couldn't afford to go and buy the cassette tape or get my mom to take me to the mall to buy the cassette. So I'd wait all day for the song. And then when it came on, you know, you hit record. And then of course, when you played it back, you missed the first few seconds because you didn't know it was going to come on. Oh, the things my children will never know the pain of. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you next Wednesday. And hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow in the morning. Take care and cheers.